Howdy you frickin' fricks, and welcome to the 10th episode of the Mario Marathon. Yes, damn near 2 years and all I have to show for it is 10 episodes. I sure am bad at this. Today we're actually going to cover my absolute favorite Mario game, I shit you not. Not my favorite game in the series, no, that'll come later. But of the main series, this one is the one I hold the dearest. It of course is the legendary Super Mario Bros. 3. Soon after the completion of Lost Levels, Miyamoto's stinky self was ready to start making some games again with his partner in crime, Tezuka. Mario was pretty established at this point to be Nintendo's flagship franchise, so of course another sequel was in order to keep the gravy train rolling. When I say Mario was huge, I mean he was huge. His P-Wing measured roughly 11.8 inches. The highest selling book in Japan at the time was the strategy guide for Mario 1. And you already know how much kids loved Mario here in the States. Cartoons, cereal, toys, Mario and by proxy Nintendo were on top, baby. When Mario 3 started development, they experimented with all sorts of stuff. For starters, the game had to feel different from the first two games, because a huge complaint of the Lost Levels was its similarity to the first game. At first this manifested itself into changing the game's view to be isometric, but because that would be absolute dogshit, they just tweaked the engine to control better and changed the graphics. That wasn't all they did though. Going from the first two games to 3 is like an explosion, dude. New enemies, new power-ups, more music, way more levels. Super Mario Bros. 3 was going to be the biggest Mario game yet. Now, if you've seen my Super Mario Bros. And Lost Levels episodes, you know that Super Mario Bros. Was supposed to be the ultimate-based Famicom game, whereas the extra power provided by the Famicom disk system would provide more advanced games after, which is why the Lost Levels was on the add-on. Well, technology has a way of advancing, and cartridge games actually became able to allow more between games, as well as being way cheaper, so Mario 3 was going to be flip-flopped back to cartridges. The game was released in Japan in 1988, a full year and 4 months before reaching America. Why? I have no clue. It's not like there was a lot to localize. Maybe they wanted to give Mario 2 some room to breathe, but let me tell you, the hype for Mario 3 was alive and well in the West. Nintendo Power was hyping it up all year. When the movie The Wizard came out, promoting Nintendo the entire film, its climax revolved all around Mario 3. The game finally reached NES here in Yankee Land on February 12, 1990. Now, instead of recording off the Nintendo Switch online, I'll be playing on the original hardware this time, because I figured out how to get NES footage to look nicer. It's not gorgeous by any means, but I like the authenticity, you know? Maybe one day when I'm a billionaire, I can afford to blow $700 on a FrameMeister so I can have both good quality footage and play on an original NES. But we don't live in a perfect world, do we, Jeremy? Try to ignore the little bars on the sides here. That's some NES graphical glitch that you wouldn't normally see if you play on a CRT like God intended. Shout out to my boy C. Loesch for previously owning my copy and writing their name on marker I can't fucking clean off. Real considerate of you, dude.
新しい冒険が今始まろうとしている。愛よ、勇気を奮い立て。僕らはマリオと強くなる。テクニカルファンタジーゲームスーパーマリオブラザーズ3。
Mario and Luigi had made sure that all is nice and peaceful in the Mushroom Kingdom after the previous game's events, and Bowser is nowhere to be found. That is until one day, Bowser and his 7 Koopalings invade the 8 connecting lands of the Mushroom World. The Koopalings are Bowser's kids, I guess? Canonically, they aren't his biological children, maybe they're just child soldiers or adopted or something? Whatever. These 7 Koopa kids serve as each world's boss. Larry Koopa, Morden Koopa Jr., Wendy O Koopa, Iggy Koopa, Roy Koopa, Lemmy Koopa, and Ludwig von Koopa. Each is named after a musician, like Ludwig being named after Beethoven, or Lemmy after Lemmy from Motorhead. All except for Morden, named after Morden Downey Jr., and Larry, who got his name because he looks like a Larry. He's my favorite. The Mushroom World is made up of 8 countries, each being a world you can play the game in. Grassland, Desertland, Waterland, Giantland, Skyland, Iceland, Pipeland, and Darkland. Yeah, this game has some motherfucking theming this time! All of these kingdoms obviously have a king ruling over them, and Bowser's kiddos have stolen these magic scepters to transform them into animals. It's up to Mario and Luigi to go to each country and save them. Ooh yeah, baby, this game is the stuff. Look at this title screen, it has so much personality. It's just Mario and Luigi fucking each other up on a nice little stage. Look how much charm this game has with such small details. I'm sure we all know the theory that this game is a stage play. Stupid lore analysis bullshit aside, it is a cute theme that the game has, with stuff being bolted to the background or being held up by wires. When you start up the game, whoa, look at that! A world map! No more teeny amount of levels per world, and I got tons each world connected by a map screen, each with its own music, theming, and other cute elements. More on that later though. The gameplay is more or less the same, just refined. You go through one end of the level to the next, dodging obstacles in your way. This time you actually can backtrack. Again, not super important to have, it's not like the game requires it, but it's nice to have. The bouncing off enemies introduced in Lost Levels is back, making it much easier to pull off some fun platforming tricks. Just like always you can run, but now you have a little meter at the bottom showing how close you are to full speed. This is called the P meter. The P stands for power. Mario can now pick up Koopa shells and throw them. You can use that to your advantage by throwing them into blocks on the ground that you can't jump under, or just holding it as a shield for running into enemies. The Koopas will eventually come out of their shell to attack you though, so be careful. A lot of levels feature slopes and inclines that you can slide down, taking down any enemy in your path. The best part of Mario's new moveset though are the new power-ups. The Starman and Fire Flower are back and largely function the same. I noticed that the Starman kinda sucks in this game because it doesn't last nearly as long, but it's still fun because you get all flippy-dippy. Also, the Fire Flower makes you orange. Strange choice, but okay, neat I guess. But the stars of the show are the 4, count 'em, 4 new power-ups in this game. First off, the Super Leaf that transforms Mario into Raccoon Mario, or Raccoon Mario Luigi respectively. This power-up lets you do 3 things. You can attack with your tail at a short range, pretty shitty for enemies, but you can break blocks with it, which is pretty cool. Second, you can gently float while falling and rapidly pressing the jump button, making it easier to correct jumps. And finally, while you have a full P meter and match the jump button, you can fly for a bit, finding secrets in the sky. This is awesome and feels great to do. You can also find a really rare power-up called the P-Wing that is the same thing, but lets you fly infinitely for one level. Ding 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 ding. Next up is the Tanuki suit that functions exactly like the Raccoon Leaf, except with the extra ability to turn into stone to crush enemies or let enemies pass you unharmed. I'm pretty sure this is common knowledge by now, but this transformation is based on the Japanese yokai known as the Tanuki Raccoon Dog, known for storing cash in its balls. Then there's the Frog suit. It's piss poor when used on land, making you slow as molasses. But when in the sea, the controls are much more precise, letting you swim quickly in any direction. Finally, the elusive Hammer Bro suit. This is by far the hardest to find in the game, but for good reason. You can throw hammers just like a Hammer Bro, and this destroys all in your path, including foes you can't normally defeat. Plus, when you crouch, your shell protects you from projectiles. The Fire Flower kinda sucks in this game. I mean, it's not any worse than before, it's still super useful, but compared to the other power-ups, it's lackluster. I get that the 3 suits are rare, but the Super Leaf is really common, so there's no reason to choose the Fire Flower over it. In the Japanese version, just like the first 2 games, when you get hit, even with a power-up, you revert to Small Mario. International releases of the game actually changed this so that when you get hit while you're holding a level 2 power-up, you only change back into Super Mario. I guess this is to make the game easier? I don't mind either way, to be honest, I just thought it was worth mentioning. Alright, time for the baddies. Mario 3 introduces not just new enemies that became staples, but also tons of variants of old baddies. Every enemy from before, save for the fast piranha plants I guess, make a full comeback, and they're more diverse than ever. You got Micro Goombas, Pile Driver Micro Goombas, Para Goombas, Curry Bow Shoe Goombas that you can actually steal the shoe of and hop around with, Boomerang Bros, Sledge Bros, Fire Bros, Big Bertha, a giant Cheep Cheep that can eat you whole, Spiny Cheep Cheeps, Scatter Bloopers, Bloopers with Kids, Buzzy Beetles and Spinies that can walk on ceilings and drop on you, Buster Beetles, Patooey, Homing Bullet Bills, Fire Piranha Plants, and even Bob-Ombs are back. These are all just the variants of the old guys. This game has crazy variety. As for the new guys, we got Munchers and Nippers, small ground-based piranha plants. Nippers jump at you though. Parabeetles could be used as platforms in sky levels. Then there's Spike, who throws the spike balls at you. I love this dude, look! He bombs up the big ol' spike balls that he throws at you. We got Chain Chomps, these little metal ball dogs that are chained to a wood block trying to get you. The Chain Chomps were inspired by a traumatic event in Miyamoto's childhood, where a dog chained to a post came after him but was stopped by the short length of the chain. Another fun but also scary fact, when the timer goes down by 160 seconds, all Chain Chomps in a level come loose, recreating Miyamoto's trauma-induced nightmare. Run. I said run. Speaking of Chomps, here's Flame Chomp. I really don't get these guys. They're floating metal balls that you can jump on, followed by a trail of fire you can't jump on. Kinda weird. There's Fire Snakes, which are exactly what the name implies. Next up are Boos. Boos were originally called Boo Diddleys after Bo Diddley. They're little ghost guys that stay still when you look at them because they're shy little things, but as soon as you turn your back, they'll come for you. They're based on Tezuka's wife, who was quiet and shy, but what exploded him for working so hard. A variant of these guys are the Stretch Enemy. Yeah, this is a weird one. A big block platform with boos grafted onto them like Freddy Krueger's victims. Kinda strange. Rocky Wrenches hide in manholes and throw wrenches at you. Dry bones are undead Koopas that upon jumping on, crumble into bones temporarily before becoming reanimated. And thwomps are big ol' stone blocks that float in the sky until they come crashing down once you stand under them. Although some move horizontally in this game. Oh yeah, and I forgot the most forgettable enemy in the game. Hotfoots. They're just fires on legs. And they work kinda like booze. Cool. In the underwater levels, we got Electro, who is just a stationary obstacle. And then Lava Lotus, that shoots projectiles upward. Man, I sure am making the enemy selection sound lame here, but trust me man, these levels are interesting as hell with them. Not to mention there's tons of new elements to make stuff more varied than ever before. This game is jam-packed, like I said. You know how I said a big part of Mario 1 is its secrets? Mario 3 has some fucking secrets, man. Cryptic ways to skip worlds, secret areas, hidden stuff that only appears if you get a certain amount of coins or if you have a specific time on your timer. There's so much to this game. There's these little note blocks that you can boing off of, and like these P-switches that when you press on, you turn coins into blocks and vice versa, or spawn blue coins, or do whatever with. There's these ice blocks that you can melt with a fire flower, blue brick blocks that you can pick up and smash people with, and these little falling donut blocks that you can't stand on for long. You like level gimmicks? This game has some fucking level gimmicks, brah. There's this one level with quicksand and a big ass tornado and a big pissed off sun that chases you and shit. Then there's this one level where you gotta run on munchers with the Starman. Oh, and there's this one with lifty platforms you gotta navigate all around and make sure you get back to the platform in time. Sorry, I just really like this game, could you tell? Actually, something this game introduced that I don't like are auto-scrolling levels. Everyone hates auto-scrolling levels. The camera moves too slow and you have to go at the pace that the game tells you to. And if you're obedient and you go slow, you can be going too slow and get caught on the edge of the screen. I hate this stuff in games, and Mario 3 has quite a few of these levels. I also feel like the levels in this game are way too short. All of them seem to end pretty early on. There's no checkpoints this time around, probably because of that. To end each level, instead of jumping onto the flagpole, you run off stage into this little square to get a card. These can net you some lives. Every third card is a guaranteed 1-up, and you can get a lot more if you match them. Just like before, there's 8 worlds. The typical world-by-world structure is all around pretty similar to the previous games. You go through some levels until you reach a fortress level. At the end of each fortress is a new boss, Boom Boom. Boom Boom is pretty simple, you just bounce on his head 3 times and he's out for the count. Later on, to make things harder, he grows wings. Ooh. But the world doesn't end there. This time around, fortresses are only the midway points. At the actual end of the world, you reach a castle where you can find the king that's been transformed into an animal. Then you take off after flying airships where Koopaling's hiding out. These airship levels are always dangerous auto-scrollers with bullet bills, cannons, and rocky wrenches everywhere. At the end, you reach a warp pipe that leads to a fight with the Koopaling in question. Just like Boom Boom, 3 bonks to the head is all you need to take him down. Each Koopaling has their own gimmick, but they're never too hard. If you die while on an airship, it'll fly away elsewhere on the map and you'll have to track it down. Actually, this game has a ton of neat things with maps like that add on an extra bit of depth. It's not just a level select menu, it's a full world with mini-games, enemies, and gimmicks. You actually don't have to play every level in any given world to finish it. Sometimes you'll find split paths where you can choose to skip a level altogether, though these levels normally lead to goodies. For example, toad houses. You'll find these little mushroom-shaped houses where a nice toad gives you 1 of 3 power-ups. Or how about spade panels where you can play this slot machine game that earn lives that I swear is impossible. There's also a semi-rare chance an end space panel will appear, letting you play a matching game for lives. I have no idea what the N stands for, neither does Mario Wiki. There's the warp pipes that you can use to skip ahead when you game over and don't want to redo levels. And also some hammer bros that you can challenge to get extra items. Oh yeah, and when you press B on the map screen, you can open a little inventory for reserve power-ups you score on the map screen, and can equip before entering the levels. Also, there's some items that exist just to help you on the map screen, like a hammer that you can use to break rocks, a cloud that you can use to skip levels, or an anchor you can stop the airships with. Oh, and a music box you can put the hammer bros to sleep with. You can also find a super secret warp whistle that takes you to the warp zone. The song it makes is also directly taken from Zelda's warp whistle. There's like the super rare chance you can get a coin airship to appear on the map. Something to do with the coins and end time on a level. I've never been able to get it. I just so happened to be recording while my little brother was playing the game and he got it by accident, so I can actually show it off. There's also a rare white toad house that appears to give you a P-wing, but I've never got footage of that. Something I do hate about the maps, though, is whenever you die, you get warped back to the last space you were on before the level you died in, and you have to watch Mario go spinny spin all the way over there. It's not a huge deal, but it's irritating when you keep dying over and over. The hardcore difficulty of the Lost Levels is finally gone. Instead, Mario 3 goes for the more progressive difficulty of the first game. That doesn't mean the game can't kick your ass, though. I was surprised at how tough the game got as early as World 3, but it's nothing too bad if you're experienced with platformers. I wouldn't have this game any other way. Let's talk about the music. Can we talk about the music, Mac? I'm dying to talk about the music. Koji fucking Kondo, dude. This man has absolutely outdone himself with the OST this time around. There's so much variety here. The typical ground levels have a nice jaunty little song, and the more intense platforming levels have their own higher energy tunes. The fortresses sound foreboding, the airships sound militaristic, not to mention every single world map has its own music that gives off its own vibes. Alright, what haven't I mentioned yet? Oh yeah, the multiplayer's finally back. It's still take-turn gameplay, but this time instead of switching every death, you switch every level. You can challenge the other player on the map screen to a game of arcade Mario Bros, and you can steal each other's cards this way. It's a fun way to be a complete asshole to your poor little brother. So the entire game you've been helping out kings and stomping on Koopalings, and after each world you get a cute little letter from Peach, who sends you nice little items to help you out. So after you beat Ludwig in World 7, you expect another item from Peach, but instead you get this.
Yo, I kidnapped the princess while you were running around. She's here in my castle if you dare to try and rescue her.
Oh shit, again? Man, I hope this isn't gonna be a habit. So you finally make it to World 8, Darkland. And it's... well, it's hell. Like, it's actually hell. Cool. This shit is hard, man. Like, I don't know if I'm crazy, but I don't even think the last few levels of the Lost Levels were this hectic. Not a criticism, fully, because I think this game is balanced pretty well, but it can get crazy. Actually, from a design perspective, this shit is genius. The 2 warp whistles are easy as hell to get in the World 1, but you won't be fully equipped to finish even the first level of Darkland until you've conquered the first 7 worlds. Anyway, after struggling through some tank levels, a castle, and all this crazy shit in between, you finally reach Bowser's castle, which honestly in comparison is kinda lackluster. It's got these beginner trap statues that shoot lasers, but it's nothing crazy. At the end, of course, you reach Bowser, who is actually the only unique fight in the game. This fight is cool. He'll shoot fire at you a few times and then target you to ground pound where you stood. If he lands on these bricks here in the middle, he'll break a layer of them. When all the layers down at the bottom are gone, he'll go crashing through the bottom. Easy as hell, but it's creative, so I like it. You then find Peach all by her lonesome.
Thank you, but a princess is in another castle. Shit! Just kidding. Haha. Bye-bye. Bitch!
It all ends with a cute little credit sequence with a fantastic song. Super Mario Bros. 3 was re-released on Virtual Console for Wii, 3DS, and Wii U. It was remade as part of Super Mario All-Stars, and this version was the basis for Super Mario Advance 4 on GBA. It was part of the PlayChoice 10 arcade machines back in the olden days, and it's on the NES Classic Edition and Switch Online. This game sold like hotcakes with 17 million total copies sold. Stores had a hard time keeping it in stock. It spawned Happy Meal toys, an album of arranged songs from the game, a cartoon follow-up to the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, and even little anime shorts telling Japanese fairy tales with characters from the game. It was so successful, the first time Nintendo Power ever put out a strategy guide, it was for good old Mario 3. Man oh man, this is the best. I know it might seem like I'm just a fanboy if you've watched my other episodes, always loving the hell out of these games, but that's just because these early years of Mario were so strong. Maybe everything hasn't aged very well, but let me fucking tell you, Super Mario Bros. 3 is a game your grandkids will love. When I think of some of the first games I've ever sat down, played, and thought, man, maybe video games are my thing. Maybe it's not just like movies where you watch one every now and then, you like movies, whatever. No dude, video games are my fucking life. Well, I think of playing Super Mario Bros. 3 at my friend's house at age 8. This is one of those games that everyone should play through at least once in their life if they have even a passing interest in gaming. This is my favorite mainline Mario game, and it probably always will be. Thank you so much for watching. I want to give a shout out to my boys, Eddie, who doesn't really have any social media for me to plug, so I'm just going to say thanks, Eddie. But anyway, Eddie kind of like overlooked my script, and it made me laugh with his little notes. Ho ho ho. But, yeah, thanks, Eddie. I don't really have anything to plug for you, so, fuck you. But also, we got some voice clips from my other buddy, Ross Redman, who is trying to start a YouTube thingy. He doesn't have any real high edited content on his channel quite yet, but he is working on some content for the game Smite. So if you're interested, I would recommend a subscription to that guy. Yeah, they're cool. They're cool dudes. I got a webcomic that I'm making with my friend Josh McKipster called Alfie Wants a Future. I would definitely recommend you read. At the point of this video, it already has 2 chapters. I have some other videos in this series, and I also have another series called Internet Interest, where I focus on strange shit on the internet that I find. I got a Twitter where I post stupid shit. I got a DeviantArt where I post art. Thank you so much for watching my video. I love you. And now, a small-scale review written by my friend Eddie. February 12th, 1990 was the date of a sexual awakening for many Americans. Super Mario 3 marked the first time Mario could be a furry with his power-ups, which really made my pain wings sore, if you know what I'm saying. Not only did Mario get the Canada Leaf, which made him a raccoon dog foxman, but he could also get Tanuki suit for full furry action. This allowed him to not only earn the respect of many skilled fursuit creators, but also turn rock hard at a moment's notice. This actually is the only aspect of the power-ups that does not have anything to do with Japanese legend of the Tanuki. It's actually a remnant of the advertising deal with Viagra that never went through due to ESRB concerns. Mario is also capable of mucking a nearby hammer bro to steal both their suit and weapons. While this seems out of character for him, it seems like a pretty good idea given that these hammers were apparently made by God himself. Shit kills ghosts. Did you know Mario was a fucking Ghostbuster? Yeah, it turns out Luigi never gets to be the first to do anything. Oh yeah, you could probably play as him, I think.